Next up, I'm going to be assigning you your first practical project. These are incredibly helpful for helping you to integrate what you've learned into a practical project, and it helps you to even add to your own portfolio as we go. What's really important I want to emphasize before we get into this is how you structure the way you're going to set about solving the task that I set you, because this is a really important thing to be able to do as you go forwards as a web developer or any kind of coder, and it's actually a life skill. And that's that when I set you these tasks, I'm going to be setting them as if often I'm a customer. So I'm not going to be saying, okay, create these tags and use this HTML file and things like that. I'm going to try to avoid that. I'm going to try to talk to you more like a customer might, where they'd be saying, I'd like a web page that has this text and then this image, without going into too much technical jargon. So that then you can then start to integrate, right, how am I technically going to achieve what needs to be done? And it gets you into the right mindset. I just wanted to focus on one thing, and that's that it's really helpful before you actually start coding to sit back and work out, right, what is it that I actually need to do? So what I often do is I will create my HTML file on top of that HTML practice, and let's just call this practical prep.html. Before I get into this, I can put this in, but above this, I'm going to write in a few lines. Now later on in the course, I'm going to show you how you can actually write in lines here, and they won't appear in the web page at all. They're called comments, and we'll leave that for later. But what I would usually do, let's say someone came to me and they said, I want you to create me a one-pager website for a portfolio page, which is what we're going to be doing. So at this stage of the learning, I'd recommend you do something like this. Right, step 1, create HTML file. And then step 2, what I would do is set up HTML head and body, like it's done below. And then I'd say test basic paragraph. So at that point, what I would do, I'd write in a paragraph using the p tag, and then I'd test it by just running it on my browser, like we've been doing so far. And then I might put after that, add header and subheader, maybe h1, h3 to remind myself. 5, add in images or add in paragraph. Let's say for example, this is all we needed for now, the header, subheader, paragraph, and then add in formatting. Bold and italic. Now this is incredibly helpful, although it seems quite simple and it's kind of trivial, like what's the point? I can assure you that this is really, really good practice to get into your mindset. Because then as well, once you've done one of these things, you can tick it off, right? You can just delete it, or you can put done next to it, however you please. And then once you've, and just keep it like that. And that's also very satisfying. But what's really helpful here is it's very structured, so that when you're actually scripting, you're not trying to think about the structure of everything and keep that in your head, because it's all written down here. So you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. You've already set it out in front of you. So when I set you the practical project, or when you get started on it, it'll be quite a simple one for our first one. Just try and keep this in mind. See if you can get into the habit of doing this as well. So best of luck, and I'll see you in the next lecture.